And we're live. And we're live. Hello. Hi. We are live. Hi. And we're here. Thank you for tuning in to the Stay Blessed podcast, episode 4, with your host, with me, with Dare to Do Motivation. First of all, I want to thank all of you who have subscribed to the Stay Blessed channel and who have tuned in from my Dare to Do Motivation channel and who came over to this channel as well and to enjoy listening to my podcast. Thank you so much. I've nearly got 500 subscribers now and we keep growing. I can't wait till we'll start doing phone calls where I'll have interesting conversations with people from all around the world talking about motivation, inspiration, spirituality, and whatever else people can talk about. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. And today I want to go into a story I recorded last week for my Dare to Do Motivation channel. I'll put the link in the description. It's called How to Get Rid of Anger Issues. It's a nice little story. And yeah, it's a story about a guy who is in a rush, who has to get to the airport. And he gets into a taxi, a cab, and the taxi driver drives him to the airport. Yeah, let's just tune in for a bit. Once upon a time, there was a young businessman who jumped into a taxi, and he took off for the airport because he was in a rush. The cab driver was driving in the right lane, when suddenly a black car jumped out of a parking space right in front of them. The taxi driver slammed on his brakes, skidded, and missed the other car by just inches. The driver of the other car whipped his head around and started yelling. But the taxi driver just smiled and waved at the guy. I mean, he was really friendly. So yeah, a young guy gets into the cab. He says, let's drive to the airport real fast. I'm in a rush. So the taxi driver, he does what he does and drives him to the airport, when suddenly a parked car just jumps out of the parking space in front of them and nearly causes a crash. On top of that, the driver of that car reacts as if the cab driver himself was at fault for the near crash. And so he yells at him, he curses at him in a really aggressive manner. And I'm sure we've all been in that situation where on the street, in the car, someone is in the wrong, but they treat us like we are in the wrong, and they get all aggressive and pushy, and yeah, basically just a jerk on the road. So yeah, the guest of the taxi, and he's expecting the cabbie to yell back or to do something. But the cab driver, he just smiles and waves at the guy, at the driver of the other car. And he's giving him the pass, and he's like, he's all about good vibes, man. And the businessman he's baffled. He's like, what? Because this businessman, let's say he comes from the corporate world. It's all push and shove and then show your elbows. You have to be aggressive to get somewhere in life. In business or in sports. We all know these people. Always pushing. Trying to be successful, and yeah, that's how they judge you if you're successful or not. Let's say he's this kind of guy, young, and he just wants to get on in his career. So let's say the guest of the cab, he's ready to shout and whatever. And so he's really surprised by the taxi driver's reaction. Let's go further. So the businessman asked him, "Why did you just do that? This guy almost ruined your car and sent us both to the hospital." This is when the taxi driver taught the young businessman a valuable lesson, which is called the law of the garbage truck. So yeah, the cab driver tells him, listen, you don't know the law of the garbage truck. The guest of the cab, he's like, why did you give him a pass? Why did you let this happen? It's unfair. It was his fault. You're right. You are right. Therefore, you are allowed to fight back. You are allowed to shout back at him, to give the same thing he gives to you, you give back to him. So that's our mentality, which we have, we all have this mentality, right? Good people, good person, nice and cool. But if someone does you wrong, you do wrong back. Someone punches you, you punch them back. That's the normal mentality. The taxi driver, he's like, no, you have to listen, son. You don't know the law of the garbage truck. And so the guest in the cab, he's like, what is the law of the garbage truck? Garbage truck, rather. And the taxi driver, he goes on and he explains.
And so he told him. He explained to him that too many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, full of anger, and full of disappointment. As their garbage piles up, they need a place to dump it. And sometimes they'll dump it right onto you. So don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. Don't take their garbage and spread it to other people at work, at home, or on the streets.
Yeah, so basically that's the law of the garbage truck. So many of us, we have stress at work, or let's say on the streets when we're driving our car, or in our relationships, in our private life. And so we get shit on a stick from everyone around us all the time. And we can't swallow all of that. So it piles up. And in order to not go insane, we kind of pass it on to someone else. We explode on someone else. Someone else does something really minor, like he cuts us off on the road, or just eats our cereal at home, and we just explode for something really, for just such a small issue. We explode because our garbage truck is full. We have to let it go. We pass it on to someone else. And he says, the taxi driver tells the young guy, listen, if someone is behaving like a jerk, you don't have to accept that behavior. What that means is, rather than telling the person, listen, I won't accept your shit, try it with someone else, his mentality is more like, I never received the harassment in the first place. If someone yells at you, you just ignore it. And you wish them well. Instead of treating fire with fire, you treat fire with water. And this is what he meant, basically, with the law of the garbage truck. That the next time someone yells at you or behaves unfairly in front of you, you just don't take it in. You don't take it in and you don't react. Because if you honestly don't take it in, it won't affect you. Let's say your boss at work, he yells at you because you didn't deliver on your project. Now you've got two options. Either you take it to heart and you're really disappointed with yourself, or you're angry with him for yelling, or you get all depressed and you're like, I'm not good at my job. Or you don't accept it. You don't accept the words that he says. Maybe you just smile, wave at him. If you smile and wave at him, maybe he'll fire you if he's your boss. But you get what I'm saying. Don't take that baggage home with you. If someone cuts you off on the street, don't react so stressfully, or don't take it into your heart. Just relax. Wish them well. Think like he's probably stressed out. He or she is probably stressed out. That's why they're reacting that way. So I'll wish him or her well and hope that their life will get better and more relaxed so they don't have to react in such a manner anymore. So that is the law of the garbage truck. Don't accept the garbage of other people. Now, I don't think that means being a pushover. That if someone comes and beats you up, that you just smile and wish them well. Obviously not. It just means that if people get on your nerves, tell you an opinion which just comes out of hatred or harassment, then don't listen to that bullshit. Don't take it in. I mean, it's their problem, it's their problem and not yours at the end of the day. It's difficult, I know it's hard to live that way, but once you get used to it, I think life can be so much less stressful.
The young businessman arrived at the airport. He gave the taxi driver a generous tip. And he was still in shock and in awe by what he had just learned. He was flying to a very important business trip, but it seemed to him that the more important journey just happened in the taxi drive right now.
So yeah, the guy, he gets out of the cab and he's about to fly somewhere fancy on a business trip. But he acknowledges the behavior of the taxi driver and he's impressed. Because in his corporate world, this kind of mentality doesn't exist. It's just be hard, be tough, go hard, don't disappoint. Business, take over, grow, grow, grow. Push, push, push. So that gives him to think that life isn't all about your business or your profession. It's not what defines you as a human. Just because you're successful at what you're doing, it doesn't mean that you're a good person. A beggar on the street could have a better personality than you. A beggar on the street could have a better karma in life than you because of his or her actions. And at the same time, don't give people the reaction that they hope for. Because people behave in a way because they expect a reaction from you, a certain reaction from you. It's like a chess game. I shout at somebody because I expect them to shout back so I can then punch them. But if I shout at somebody and they wish me well and smile, it's like they take away my gun. They take away my ammunition. I think that is what the story is really about, and that is what this law of the garbage truck is really about. So let me know in the comments what you think about this story, what you think of this law of how we react to certain things, how we react to other people's bad behavior. Is it possible to live that philosophy without being a pushover? Without being unhappy. So give me your 2 cents, please, in the comments below. And yeah, check out the story, definitely, on my Dare to Do Motivation channel. And let's continue. Let's talk about being in a pandemic, but not talking about the pandemic itself, but what that does for our careers, for your job, for your studies. Let's say you are forced to stay at home because of the coronavirus situation around the world. Let's say you've lost your job. Let's say you're running out of money. Now, how do you stay cool in a situation like that? How do you stay sane in a situation like that, which a lot of us are facing right now? And my basic answer is, of course, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So we lose time, we lose money, we lose our job, we lose opportunities. But one thing we gain during this situation, it's called time. Suddenly we have more time, spare time. And what we can do in this time is we can prepare for being better professionally when the whole pandemic thing is over. I mean, especially with the internet, there are so many languages and skills you can learn and dedicate yourself for maybe an hour a day, 2 hours a day. And within a couple of weeks, you'll have a new skill set. You'll have grown, you'll have learned something new. So I think that is a good way of challenging a situation like the one we're facing right now. Because so many people I know, before the pandemic, they were just wishing for a time when they didn't have to go to work, where they had more time. And since the pandemic, the same people, after a week of being forced to stay at home, they went crazy. They were begging for work. They were begging to going back to work. The same people who wanted spare time and didn't want to work, who wanted to maybe start a YouTube channel. I have so many friends who wanted to or who want to start a YouTube channel, but they never start. They say, I don't have a computer, I don't have this, I don't have that. You've got a phone, you've got internet. There are free Photoshop video cutting apps you can download for free. You can start that way. People don't start. Before they said, I don't have time because I have to go to my shitty job because I need the money. A week of not being able to work. They're begging for work again because they're afraid that they won't have any money. You see where I'm going? Instead of using the time, I mean, you won't get any poorer by learning something or creating something new professionally. You won't lose more money if you start a YouTube channel. It won't cost you anything, just time. And you've got more than enough time now. Same with learning a language online or learning an instrument or whatever. You can definitely grow your skill set in times like these. And instead of putting all that energy into complaining and moaning and being uncertain of the future, you can try and create your future by taking action, by not being passive, but being active. I mean, the future is always uncertain. You can be healthy and sick the next day. You can have a job, you can lose it the next day. You can be rich, you can be poor the next day, and vice versa. So the future is always uncertain. So I think if people are active in their life, then they automatically get things done. And life won't be able to slap them in the face as hard as if they were just passive and waiting for something, waiting for the pandemic to be over, waiting for a new job. I mean, in every bad situation, in every bleak moment, there is somewhere lies an opportunity. An opportunity for your personal life, for your creative life, for your professional life. There is always an opportunity. And just start something. It could be the wrong thing. You can stop again if you see that it's stupid. But maybe after stopping, after 3 months, you will have learned something in those 3 months. So yeah, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you can fail. So what? Who cares? It took me 2.5 years to build up the Dare to Do motivation channel. It took me 2.5 years before I earned any money. I got rejected by the Google AdSense program number of times. I was ready to quit, but I kept going. And now I've nearly got 1 million subscribers on my Dare to Do motivation channel. So, and if you look back, 2.5 years, some people may say that's a lot. But actually, it's not a lot. 2.5 years can pass very quickly. So yeah, my point being is just be active. Don't be passive. Don't grow your ideas in your head so much that they produce weeds, which you don't want, which will just cloud your thinking. You have an idea, you have a project you want to do, just do it, start. And yeah, life is short. We have so much input these days with the internet and information and news and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. So much input all the time. Phone ringing, notifications, emails, blah, blah, blah. We need an output. You need to get your ideas out. You need to get your feelings out. Express yourself. Start doing projects. Start creating. Start a business maybe. Or try and branch out in the work that you do. You need outputs. Don't just take in information all day long. It will fill you up and will get into your head, and you won't be able to think in a balanced way. So much input these days. Short attention spans. 10-second TikTok videos attention spans. These days, you can get 400 different stories in one day, 400 short videos, notifications in one day. They're all about something else or from someone else. It's a lot of information for our brains. So I think we have to clear out that mess from time to time. And no better way than doing something. Making something with your mind or with your hands, creating a piece of art. There's so many ways we can express ourselves and also at the same time make a profit out of it, make money. Because money isn't bad. Money can help you. Money can help you to get the things that you want in life. Live a lifestyle that you enjoy. Not being a slave. Being free. Being able to travel. So money is just a means. Money would be worthless if you couldn't buy clothes or food or cars. It's just you give something out to the world. Sometimes you get some money. And with the money you can do whatever you want. Use it in a good way. So I don't think that money's a bad thing. Yeah, well, that was the main idea of how you could use this time of the pandemic when maybe you have too much time on your hands but no job and no school at the moment. There are always productive ways which we can use our time. Also, you could work out, you can stay healthy, start a diet. This is an opportunity, man. Of course, it's a disaster for so many people. My heart goes out to everyone who has lost someone due to the coronavirus. But it's also a great opportunity for all of us to rethink our life. What kind of future do you want for yourself? Think about it. Really think about it and express yourself in a way that could change your life. And with that, I'll let it be. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching. And stay blessed.